Welcome, everyone. This is Pilot Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week we have with us Terry Edwin.
Hi.
Senswinda.
Hello.
Guarendis.
Hello, everyone.
Calabazian.
Yep.
And Krister.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. And this week we finally have Update 32, The Rangers and Ruins. And there is a note in here noting that the Hidden Horde of Nankara raid will be arriving next week and not this week. So they go around about that, arriving on noon on Thursday, February 24th. And that will be with a quick update that'll be next week. And now let's head into what is in this update. First off, Erebor housing.
Yay.
I don't know if anyone has a chance to check this out yet.
Well, I thought everybody collectively in this group had been saving, and we're just going to assault the housing market once this got released. So
no.
I was thinking 30, 40 properties each,
I don't think so. Right, but anyway, your opportunity now to own some housing in Erebor. And the new premium player and kinship housing is now available in Erebor. To learn more about and tour the available homes, visit Garthy Lockwarton in the broker's office in Bree, as well as within Erebor in Tumnudum, the dwelling halls. Note, players can own as many personal premium homes as they wish, but kinships can still only own one premium house. Erebor housing includes 12 base premium houses, 1 special base premium house, 6 deluxe premium houses, and 1 premium kinship house. And there's a full suite of town services and social spaces for you to enjoy your kinship and neighbors. All new exterior music and ambient environment hooks types to allow you even more customization in your homes, swimmable gold coins, and a life-size chess/checkers board.
You too can be Scrooge McDuck.
Wait, you can buy swimmable gold coins? Is that what I just
No,
heard?
but they're everywhere.
Oh, they're everywhere. Well, it's almost as good.
It really is. Well, technically you kind of can because there are 2 gold coin pools in the kin hall if you're going to spring for that. I shouldn't have said that, should I?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Also, introducing the Legendary Items Rewards Track. The Legendary Items Rewards Track is now available to all players starting at level 45. This track can be accessed through the menu Character Rewards Track. As you play the game and collect item XP, it'll progress the track throughout the season. And if you get all the way to the end, there is a repeatable goal for more rewards. We'll refresh the track every season, and the frequency, drop rates, and kind of rewards will change over time. The Legendary Items Rewards track is account-based, so all of your characters on each world will contribute to the rewards track, and you can select the rewards on whatever character you prefer. You can read more about this at LOTRO.com. So over at LOTRO.com, there is an article giving you a quick rundown on how that operates. Anyone check that out yet?
Yeah, I'm into the level 20-something on the rewards track.
Yeah.
It's a good thing that I cleared out space in my shared storage with the die carry-all, because now it's filled up with unopened boxes of ancient script.
Exactly. I was going to say, I could probably complete the track, but what am I going to do with all the ancient script that I can't claim?
Well, that is a bit of a problem. Let's just say that I have a lore master that is
If we could barter for... Sorry, Pine. If we could barter for the little things that got you the higher tier traceries, then that would totally be worth it. But there's no way to get them other than running the high-end instances. And if you're not running high-end instances, apparently they think you don't need those things. But you can't get those things unless you're running the high-end instances. So it's like,
I would be happy if there was at least a good barter for the purple, the uncommon rare. The purple level for the 131 plus.
Wait, what do you mean that there'd be a good... I mean, there's an easy barter for the purple
yeah,
stuff.
you can easily get the purple stuff. It's the teal stuff you can't get. And the teal stuff is what I ended up getting when I...
No, I'm talking about the runes to advance it.
Oh, the advancement runes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those things are tough to get.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have stacks of them because I'm not using them on my lower level traceries because I haven't upgraded my traceries because I have teal ones and I can't barter for the teal 131 plus ones because...
Terry, here's a trick. This is a trick I heard. You have plenty of those tracery removal boxes still and or alts that could get you them by breaking down the old stuff. Get trash 131 ones, whatever they are. Remove your teals. Put in the higher level ones. That's going to bump. By higher level, I mean the 131 trash ones. That's going to bump up all the slots. Then remove them again and put your teals back in.
Wait, does that work?
Well, if it doesn't, Chromite was telling somebody a great big fib on a stream, and I don't think that would ever be likely, would it?
Well, you mean replace it with a lower level one?
Well, a lower tier, but higher level. So you put the 131s, those traceries in.
Yeah, but how?
It will allow you to open up those higher levels, but then you can go back and reslot. You can go ahead, put those in.
That's a lot of boxes, though. And nobody's got that many boxes.
Well, 2 boxes for each item.
That sounds like to me a loophole that they're going to
I'm sure that
as soon as they find out about, they're going to fix. Yes, because that sounds like a bit of an exploit to me. I'm
not sure if it's an exploit, if it's the way they have it, but I'm just saying I'd heard that. I'm just repeating what I'd heard on the Twitch stream.
Yeah, those tracery removal boxes don't take off all the traceries, do they? They only take off one.
No, I think it takes off everything.
Only on one item, but it should take off everything on that item, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, if that's the case, then that's potentially doable. Something to be explored later.
Yeah. And or you can at least save those teals. Don't get rid of them. Because advancing the slots does help. It helps bring up some of the other ones. I honestly don't have teals on most of my stuff anymore. Yeah.
I know that
I'm doing okay.
Yes, but I think Terry likes the benefits that you get from the from the teals more than she likes the side items in there. Probably because the champion probably has some good traceries in there. I mean, Wardens, half of them are half drunk anyway. So
do you know that my raging my raging blade, by the way, because I have a teal tracery in there to add additional targets to AoE skills. Before the new LIs came out, my Raging Blade max targets was 13. Now my Raging Blade max targets is 16.
Mm-hmm.
She loves having targets.
I know.
It's important to be able to shing as much as possible.
Yes.
Especially since it's a red line champion with shing, which means that all of the crits have bleeds. Yeah, stuff dies really fast. I like it that things die really fast.
All I know is things die really fast now that my physical mastery is well over 1 million.
Well, there is that too. Also, we have the Angle of Mithathel is available for exploration, stretching south from the Trollshaws to the junction of the Bruinen and Mithathel rivers is a wild land of rocky hills and deep pine woods, and a graveyard of ancient kingdoms. The ruins of elves and men alike crumble among the trees. I even saw a hobbit ruin in there. And the rangers steal through the shadows of the trees, ever watchful, carrying out secret assignments as the north grows more dangerous by the day. The Angle of Mithathel is a new area for levels 40 to 45. The Angle of Mithathel is free to VIPs and available to LOTRO store under the quest packs, Rangers, and Ruins. Now, I had a little time in there. Has anyone else had a chance to explore it yet?
I have. Maid of Lions is, I was going to cover this in my week highlights, but Maid of Lions is once again telling very interesting stories.
Yes. So, yeah, I haven't gotten too deep into the stories yet. I'm just getting into the beginning of the
I might have
story
powered through the whole area on Greer this week.
Yeah, I need to find a character that could reasonably get through, because my most reasonable character to go through right now, I'm doing the video series for, and of course, that slows me down a little bit.
Fair. I wasn't worried about doing it on level. I just wanted the story. I wanted to see what the area was like.
Yeah. All right.
And the story is great.
All right, I'll see if I can find someone maybe only a little bit up on there. I don't want to take a 140 through there, but I know that if you really want to see the story quickly, that could be a way to do it.
I was also looking for like locations and things like that, because I knew that there would be certain members of my kin that would probably want to know where things are, and I wanted to be able to tell them.
Right. And let's go into the news and notes for this update. 4 classes! Bjorning's Relentless Maul can no longer be used while moving. The skill would instantly fire and cancel, and there were some other unintended behaviors when you attempted to move to. Base form of Relentless Maul now counts as a healing skill, as it can be modded with the yellow line heal effect, and Desperate Shout's buff is now visible again. As for the Burglar Purge corruption, can now crit. Hedge Your Bet now heals 5% per pulse on all rolls. It now has a 15 to 30% chance of applying on each attack based on the roll. The Bleed on the Blue raid set has been reduced, and Honed Wet now properly increases burglar damage over time. Now the Brawler. Brawlers who complete the class quest Brawling Lessons will now receive a new title, Fearsome Fists, in addition to the existing title. This title will be awarded retroactively to brawlers who have already completed the quest. Change the builder attacks to have an animation time of 0.75 seconds, previously varied from 1 to 1.5 depending on the builder. Come to Me has been buffed. Taunts radius is increased to 12 meters and the base targets increased to 5. Weather Blows can now be used in motion. The range of strike towards the sky has been increased from 2.5 to 3.5. All group buff effects smaller than 10 meters have been expanded to 10 meters. All attack AoE shorter than 7 meters have been extended to 7 meters. The Eager Challenger trait in Blue Line has been changed from minus 30 seconds to minus 20 seconds. The other minus 10 seconds is now available on Tracery that also increases the Mayhem bubble magnitudes. The critical chance increase in Red Line now has an additional effect on Tier 5. Critical hits and with finisher skills generate 1 medal. The base healing percentage for Joy of Battle has been increased from 1% to 3%. Pummel will no longer cancel early if used with 5 or less metal, and some trace renaming and display issues have been corrected. Now for the champion. Bracing attack no longer misses or can be BPE'd. Its damage has been reduced by about 20%. Now the question is, were the misses and BPEs about 20% of the time?
Well, if it missed or could be or was BPE'd, then it wasn't giving you the heal. So the fact that it can no longer miss means that you now always get the heal.
Ah, okay. So that's the reason. All right. So they probably balanced it out to keep the same amount of damage.
I actually almost never use that skill really as a damaging attack. I use it if I need a heal, and my other heals are on cooldown.
Ah, so in other words,
you'd rather has a shorter cooldown.
All right. So you would rather have it than not missing or blocked or anything like that.
Yes, because it's usually a pretty critical heal.
Okay. Merciful Strike's crit multipliers have been raised to match the default for most skills, times 1.5 crit or times 2 for devastating. For the Guardian, Flash of Light now scales with your weapon. Damage now scales up more effectively into higher levels as well. Flash of Light now only procs off your active Take to Heart target. Catch a Breath's cooldown timer will no longer bug when War Chant is reducing it. Shield Smash was incorrectly calculating its area of effect from the selected target rather than the Guardian. This has now been fixed. Shield Smash's arc range has been increased slightly to make up for this lost reach. For the Hunter, Lingering Wound now applies damage over time again. Rapid Fire now properly reduces the cost of Split Shot, and Focus, when affected by Song of Aid, is now usable both in and out of battle. Right. Any comment on this, Sans?
No.
All right. For the Lore Master, in Commune with Nature now has a 180-second cooldown. Nature's Light has a duration changed from 20 seconds to 20 seconds. Nature's Gift had an initial cooldown removed, so it can be used immediately. Both of these pet skills have an internal cooldown of 180 seconds. For the Minstrel, Call of Arendelle now resets properly with cries and calls. Runekeeper. Some Runekeeper damage over time pulse rates have been increased. The number of pulses is unchanged, so the duration is now shorter. The total damage is the same, but overall DPS is higher. Writ of Fire's pulse rate has gone from 4 to 3 seconds, and Scathing Mockery has had its pulse rate lowered from 6 to 3 seconds. And for Fire, Frost, and Lightning skills are now labeled correctly on their tooltips. And as for the Warden, Tracery Mastery cooldown has been improved from -3 to -5 seconds, while Remerhant set bonuses have been reduced from -5 to 3 seconds, so they cancel each other out. Of course, if you don't have Remerhant armor, it's an improvement. For the Free Peoples, now grants an incoming damage percentage reduction that increases to -25% at full stack. This replaces its old effect, which I have absolutely no idea what the old effect was. It tells you how often I used it. And heals have been increased generally across the board. Thank you! And critical defense debuffs now scale correctly. As for crafting, Brawler Belt Buckle icons should now be consistent across crafting tiers. Achieving a critical success when crafting Power Gleam Belt Buckles now adds 2 eye levels to the resulting item, and achieving critical success with Power Gleam Stick Pins also adds eye to 2i levels. And players who have achieved the highest reputation with their crafting guild now have access to a recipe that will allow the creation of a sunstone shard once every 7 days.
Ooh.
Your prayers have been answered.
As for housing, Cape of Belfalas and Rohan housing interiors now support multiple music hooks and also support exterior ambient environment and music hooks. And as for items, legendary item rewards, older scaling instances made it too easy to farm legendary rarity LI items. As a result, scaling instances have had their top-end LI drops reduced to incomparable rarity. Non-scaling instances are unchanged. Legendary items can now reach item level 475. Of course, in order to get to 475, you will have to do a reforge. Incoming healing progressions have been corrected on class items so that they can now increase to current levels. New adventurers gear for level 140 characters have now scaled from eye level 461 to 463. Bound to character, traceries, and essences now always bind the legendary item or slotted item to the character when slotted. PvP rank cloaks are now gated by monster play and may not be used outside the Intermoors. You can now equip a second legendary item without first unequipping the first if you have a unique essence or tracery in 2 different items.
Yay! Sorry, I switch back and forth stances, and I have different books and weapons for my minstrels. So yeah, not having to go in, okay, pull both of these out, now put both of these in. It'll be really nice and a lot quicker.
Okay. All shields will now offer the crit defense and range defense bonus previously only granted to heavy guardian shields. The Brawler Abyss Raid Set armor pieces bartered from the Master of Mordor in Doromarth on the plateau of Gorgoroth are now actually usable by brawlers, right? The Delver's Essence boxes now allow selection of a Vitality Essence. New Brawler traceries have been added to the Barter vendor. The Pelennor Warriors Gear Rewards vendor, Master of Battle Lore, now correctly offers Brawler set gear, and all task quest items now list the regions that they belong to in their descriptions, excluding, of course, the housing task boards. As for monsters above level 60 now have a small base critical defense rating. And the wargs and corrupted heirlooms no longer count as North Downs creatures, so they will no longer trigger deeds, but especially not when you find them in Rohan. And as for traits, class, race, and virtue trait slots will now automatically unlock when a character hits the required level regardless of subscription status or purchase. This does not apply to monster play characters, though. So class, race, and virtue trait slots are no longer based on account type. A quest for adventure areas, the featured instance rotation has been updated to now include Dungeons of Dol Guldur, Fornost, Wraith of Water, Seat of the Great Goblin, Iobar's Peak, Sword Halls of Dol Guldur, and Barad Guldur. The feature instance reward packages have been updated, including new armor that will scale to your character level. In order to support this scaling, the rewards package will now decay, so that they must be opened within 1 hour or be lost. The featured instance camp quests will now require Tier 2 completion on the instance. The feature challenge quest has been removed. Okay, so the cap quests now require Tier 2 completion. I guess they felt that the Tier 1 was too easy. Stable masters in the Trollshalls, parts of Eregion, Lothlorien, Southern Mirkwood, and Aaron Lasglen now use the Elk Travel mode. Note, since we have updated the Trollshall Stable Master routes, players will need to rediscover them, and I'm sure some people have already experienced the joy of doing that. Right, Sans?
Guilty.
It was a lot of fun.
I haven't yet been all over the Trollshalls, but I did notice that Elrond's house has a stable master by it now.
Yep.
Of course, the elves still charge you an arm and a leg to get there.
Yeah. Now, fortunately, the stable masters in the housing neighborhoods are still able to send you to the Rivendell stable, despite the fact that even if it hasn't been re-unlocked on theirs. So you can still get the Rivendell through that route. You probably have to have discovered Rivendell at least once would be my guess, but I could be wrong on that. I guess I could take a low-level character to check that out. Added some clarifying dialogue to Chapter 6.1, The Artist and the Apprentice, to make it clear which character advances the quest. And enemies in Elder Slade and Gundabad missions now execute their induction skills in 5 seconds, down from 10 seconds. And the Adventurer's Quartermaster and new box now offers Delving Adventurer's Essence boxes. The House's Arrest of Vithung Wintermine no longer becomes unattackable in dual and fellowship group sizes after being reset. The level requirement for Rivendell to Gath Forthnier has been adjusted from 125 down to 20? And for the fate of Gundabad Quest, the story of Kar Bronach concludes in Gundabad with 20 additional quests at level 135 to 136. If you have completed the quest in Kar Bronach, speak with Mesto in Grumachkath to continue. Oh, I gotta remember to do that because I keep on forgetting about that little change. Nenapu Clock removed some visual effects that would stick onto players even after they left the instance. The name of the orders from Dushtelbook should now correctly be displayed during the camps of Staj Volzog. Gundabad Geode Hunter barter prices have been adjusted. Does anyone know what the adjustment was?
They made some things cheaper.
Oh, okay. I guess I should look at that, see if I'm anywhere near getting something now.
The particular item that I'm farming geodes for originally cost 150 and it's down to 100.
Okay.
The pocket items are more affordable.
Right,
they're terrible pockets.
Well, when you first get there and you have something that's from out of the area, they looked enticing. There are better things offered, but
I still don't have essences in my pocket from Erebor. No, from Anakhurfu from 130. And it's still better than the essences the pockets that you can barter for geodes.
Well, I suppose it doesn't matter much to me, considering that I'm still using a sleigh bell. Yes.
Holding out for an Ember's pocket.
Yes. Mission Gundabad, lay to rest. Dwarf Whites now patrol the space and have proper appearances. Legacy of the Necromancer, Lay of Rust and Rime, Scion of Winter, Stable Master icons will no longer appear on the mini-map during this instance. And in the War of Three Peaks, all tier completion deeds bestow in Woe of the Willow regardless of tier. And there are some UI changes. Some French and German translations have been updated. Don't they say that in every release note? And the system now refers to traceries correctly in the new Legendary Items UI instead of calling them essences when unslotted, and with tooltips on the buttons. The Reforged UI now has a summary that is accurate, and the Reforged UI has had its text updated to reflect the new system. And the display error on classic Essence examinations has been fixed. For miscellaneous, here's another one that free and premium players will love. The gold restriction has been removed from free and premium accounts. All account types can now have a maximum of 9,999 gold without purchase of the currency cap.
Huh.
And the benefits of the premium wallet upgrade have now been applied to all accounts. The widest possible assortment of barter currencies, including a variety of instance tokens, region barter tokens, festival tokens, taxidermy barter items, and crafting instance tokens, are now automatically going into your barter wallet for all characters on all accounts. That is because there was just so much stuff that goes into the wallet there. I could just imagine what the average inventory must look like to a premium account before this. And as for known issues, Erebor housing. In order to prevent decorations from intruding on other players' properties, the mobile hooks in the lower courtyard of deluxe Erebor houses and the huge enormous hooks in all base Erebor houses have had their vertical movement restricted. The Last Bridge Stable Master appears in the Lonelands map, but not on the Trollshalls map.
Weird.
Barrackins,
yeah, I noticed that.
Yes, we ran into that during the field trip yesterday. Barrackins Camp, Echad Candlelit, and Gwingris Stable Masters do not appear in the Angle of Mithrael map. And the Legendary Item Rewards track currently uses the wrong icon and does not yet have a hotkey for access. Access it through the menu under Character Options. I've put it into one of those bottom buttons in there, and I have it over there. Though, of course, yes, it does have the wrong looking...
I believe
yes?
we might have just lost you for a minute.
Oh?
A dog unplugged
what
the
happened?
headphones.
Hmm?
One of my dogs just unplugged the headset.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if anybody else could hear you.
I heard it was fine.
I think he means Mixler.
Mixler should have still picked it up, even though it wasn't channeled to your headphones.
Okay.
Because Mixler's supposed to be picking it up through the headphones, so just checking. Feel free to continue.
Yeah, but all right. And that concludes our release notes. Now I want to go back to one item on there. I think Guarendis, you said, or someone said they were having trouble getting purple
enhancement runes.
Enhancements runes? You're having trouble getting them?
For level 131 above.
Oh, they drop all the time. Actually, they're in the reward track.
Yeah, once again I run into the problem with I don't have enough characters to be able to spin down the ancient script to keep claiming stuff. I don't have room for boxes because I still I haven't even been using runes from. I used the little stack of 1,000 XP runes on my lowest level character.
Right.
And I was over 25 already.
Okay.
So I quested with Guare this week. Okay. I clicked the little XP runes I was getting then that were low level. I'm up into the 30s right now, but I don't have room to claim all those boxes if I have all those runes, but I hate to just toss the runes out because that's the currency that we're going to be using for the reward track.
All right. Yeah, there is that.
This is where storage alts come in handy because since they're bound to account, you can just mail them to your storage alt.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to create new alts.
Okay. Yeah. So you can't barter for.
Keep them in the mail.
I think this defeats the purpose of what they were wanting to accomplish, though. Yes. So
yeah, there is really way too much agent script in this track. Because I capped really early.
Well, I think part of the problem is because if you're dealing with characters who have all this ancient script from the initial deconning and all that stuff, that's given us a bit of a glut of ancient script.
Well, no, because I had spent a bunch of it because I was trying to get the traceries for Sarissa. Because since she was only level 100, her LI wasn't maxed or anything. So I ran out of ancient script, and I still managed to cap like really early.
Right.
That's why my
and I have characters who still have the old LIs in their bags that they haven't appraised yet, because I knew if I did, it's like, okay, what do I do with all this script?
Yeah. Now that means the barterer doesn't.
Well, you use some of that script to barter for the traceries that you put on the new LIs.
Yeah, no, everybody that can have LIs has LIs. They're maxed as far as their levels have gone so far. I don't have enough hours in the day to play 3 or 4 alts to get them leveled up so that I can reforge the items that they have to spin the script to, get the enhancement runes to get. It's a mess. I'm at a standstill, really, because it's like I don't have room. I don't have that much time.
All right. So then the barterer only goes up to 130 on the enhancement runes then?
The level 131s, they only offer the lowest, the yellow.
Oh, the yellow. Yeah. Okay,
but
they only
goes up to, 460? And my stuff was 465 before they increased things. So
okay. Now, I see the issue now.
So there's not purples that are easy to barter for me to go ahead and just push it on up. It's not like I'm gonna be ruining their ethos of the end gamers get the really cool stuff because they're working really hard in doing it, and I don't begrudge them that. But it's like, give the rest of us filthy casuals at least the purples. I don't need the teals and golds.
Right.
But give me something to spin this script on that is going to be something I will find useful, that I don't have to find room to hold on to.
Right. Anyway, that is it for the release notes for Update 32. We spent a good amount of time on that. And, of course, there is going to be next week another update, Update 32.0.1. And there are a couple of things. And the big thing, of course, is the raid itself, which will be released with that. But also, there are other little things that they'll be tweaking. Using heritage runes while mounted will no longer produce a general error. Instead, it will dismount your character and use the runes, planning to make this usable while mounted again in the near future. And actually, it looks like in the second build, they actually fixed that one. So it looks like you'll be able to use them while mounted once that goes in. Fixed ledger item experience not applying to the reward track when earned while mounted. That's a bit of a problem. Miscellaneous floating duplicate assets in the abodes of Erebor have been fixed. The last bridge is now considered a part of the Troll Shaws. It was previously considered part of the Lone Lands. Stuck spot in Steep Set has been fixed. Throniel, North Trollshaws, and Calathon and Tornet will no longer be displayed as stable masters. Players on legendary servers will no longer be able to use the Etmore's travel route from Rivendell. And rewards track XP can be earned on horseback. So some tweaks to the rewards track and to, of course, the new area. And finally, it's time for the LOTRO Beacon, issue 237. Where it looks like there's some Goblins, I see an elf here. Is this someone trying to loot a chest while all that's going on?
That would be your burglar.
Yeah, that'd be your burglar. Yeah, the hunter is...
Spot the burglar.
Spot the burglar.
I mean, been there.
The archer kills everything, and then the burglar loots all the chests, yes.
That's basically the burglar's job.
For the community spotlight, the Andune Ensemble performs The Fellowship of the Ring on Laurelin recently, and their videos indexed by chapters is now available. See this incredible epic performance on YouTube. Bariathan runs the Battle for Helm's Deep in an extensive guide-focused video. Watch that over on YouTube. Laurel's Den has created a printable LOTRO calendar, and you'll find that on the blog. Now for our weekly comment. What is one of the first signs of spring?
Cadbury mini eggs showing up in grocery stores.
Ah.
Well, while we're still down in Texas, I would say that the mesquite trees are blooming, finally putting on leaves. It's not spring until that happens. But since coming up here, I have no idea.
we won't see any of that for a little while yet.
Mm-hmm. First signs of spring.
It's actually crocuses. Crocuses pushing through the snow.
Crocuses pushing through the snow, right?
A crocus pushing through the snow like a burglar swimming through gold.
Let's see, because here, I'm trying to think what would be the first signs of spring, because for here, you have the cherry blossoms down where I live, but I usually consider that to be well into spring before those start popping out. But how about Middle Earth?
Depends on where you are in Middle Earth, isn't it?
You can't see where the edge of the cliff is?
That's just the Trollshaws.
Maybe that's just the Trollshaws. It was nice light green shrubbery, though.
I guess it kind of depends on where you are in Middle Earth. Because if you're up in Forahel, the first sign of spring is, oh, hey, not as many people are dying. I mean...
So when LOTRO, I thought is when the anniversary event's starting.
Yeah.
Over on Fansite News, last week we didn't have enough trolls.
Well, Terry didn't.
Well, Terry did. And Erebor Housing has arrived, and Deco de Malou has you covered. You get all the info on their blog. Laurel's Den has updated its Fatagunabad guide for the new raid, and you can find the guide over on their blog. Louis 7 has your Update 32 patch review. Get his thoughts on the update on his YouTube channel. LOTRO's soundtrack collection heads to the angle of Mythathel. Listen to it on YouTube. And we'll get to the next one later on. Let's see. The LOTRO stream is your first stop to find LOTRO on Twitch. This week, French Girl Gaming goes on an adventure in Glooming Tarn, Uger quests in Madagard, and B4 delves into minstrel buff plugins. Also on Twitch, Emperor
The buff, okay. I was confused for a moment. I was very not kindly friendly and confused. Go ahead, though.
Also on Twitch, Emperor 13 TV has a chill stream from Evernight. Professor Teacher G celebrates a year of playing LOTRO, and Bloodborne looks at the rewards track, release notes, and more. And over on YouTube, M-Dog Gaming previews Erebor Housing, and Elder Gamer Girl finds an undiscovered path, and Jedi Warlock considers his top 10 future regions. So for our screenshot of the week, Grumbine yells, "Let him come! There is one dwarf yet in Enedwythe who still draws breath." In this week's screenshot of the week. Thanks to Grumbine for sending us this screenshot. You can email your screenshot for consideration to LOTRO@saintstonegames.com. Have fun, and that looks like something big and nasty.
That's Dragok.
Yeah, that's why it's big and nasty, I guess.
Is that Dragok?
It looks like that instance.
I mean, I've never actually seen Dragok's head.
Well, there is that detail.
Because usually when I'm in the instance, I'm down fighting the legs or whatever.
Well, yeah, there is that.
Get his kneecap! Get his kneecap!
I'm pretty sure I've seen it on Yuki's stream, but that is definitely the cavern with the piles of loot. That I do remember sneaking around and trying to get through. It's like that's how I recognized it.
Such a pain.
Now I'm wondering who would win in a fight, Smaug versus Dragok.
I don't know, but I hope that they would do each other in so that Middle Earth would have been a lot easier without him.
Yeah, what if they teamed up?
That would be a problem. Let's head into our store sales. Terry, what's for sale this week?
Well, our free coupon is a simple rally horn with coupon code RALLYROUND, now through February 24th, and 20% off Virtue Acceleration Tomes, Enduring Universal Toolkits, and Skill and Slayer Deed Boost, now through February 24th. And also, this weekend, you get double bonus points in the LOTRO store.
Let's then head into our site news, where we have an article by Squirrel for some quick tips on the LI track from Update 32. It gives you some tricks on how to get the most of it, though, of course, as Guarendis says, you may have some issues with storage if you're all worried about that script that you keep on getting too much of. All right, and that's it for that. So let's then head into our pick of the week. Calabathian, you have an article to speak of?
Yes, I was just kind of minding my own business, as I usually do, when quite suddenly, as I'm, scrolling, I think it was through Facebook, something caught my eye, and it was an article regarding the Lord of the Rings trailer for the upcoming series that they're going to be doing on Amazon. And it was an article talking about a YouTuber named Just Some Guy who did a YouTube video, and they link it in the article if you want to see the, what he says. But they link it in the article, and he is kind of deconstructing the trailer and his issues with what is going on and what it looks like this Amazon series is going to do with the lore of Lord of the Rings, how it's going to present it. And the article that I found was actually talking about this deconstructing, and I guess kind of deconstructing the deconstruction. Very meta. It's it's like, it's an inception of deconstruction.
It's a response to a deconstruction.
Yeah, it's kind of the response to that. So I wanted to go ahead and link that so we could kind of discuss that. And Terry already has some thoughts. So I'll kind of turn it over to her if you want. Go for it.
What?
No. You were talking about it earlier is kind of what I meant. One of the things that I did notice is there was a discussion happening about, not necessarily about ethnicity in The Lord of the Rings, because that's kind of been a hot topic. We were kind of discussing that earlier. That's been a hot button issue since the Super Bowl halftime show. Anyway, but that was discussed, and some other points that were made. One of them that I noticed was talking about Galadriel and how they seem to be tweaking the lore that Tolkien kind of put down in even the I have trouble saying this, the Silmarillion.
Yeah.
Because it's they have her all decked out in armor because they use one of these stills there, and apparently the main issue with that was how they were going to portray her as like yet another like super, strong heroine type, and that had become almost stereotypical and cookie cutter. And they were discussing that, like, did she even fight at this point? And, she was not known as this, as that. That was, anyway. Another issue that they had with Galadriel was in regard to how they described her as basically wanting revenge on the people who killed her brothers.
Yeah.
And how that happened like 1,300 years ago by the time the series starts. So, baby, please let it go. If you've been spending 1,300 years plotting revenge on the murderers of your brothers, I mean, that's a bit of a long time.
Elves play the long game.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm just sitting here thinking, what's 1,300 years to an elf? Like last Tuesday? I mean... So it's kind of an interesting article, kind of deconstructing that, but the overall sense from the YouTuber especially, was that they are not really looking forward to seeing this series because they feel that that Amazon is basically messing it up. Oh, yeah. And that's kind of frightening to me because of how Amazon did the Wheel of Time series.
Well, first of all we've seen so far is this teaser.
Yeah, see, and I'm not sure where they're getting the stills and some of this information that they're going off of, because so far I haven't really seen... I mean, there's only just been the teasers, and I'm like, is that all you're going off of? I don't...
Yeah, because first of all, I could believe that Galadriel sometime in her all those years she's lived had worn armor at some point in there. Because it's like fighting all around you. It's the way you stay alive,
Yeah, and not only that, but Galadriel is like the head honcho, not her husband. That speaks something, I mean, I don't know if it's just her bloodline or if it's the fact that at some point she kicked enough butt that people were like, you know what?
Well, she doesn't know, or her husband is not.
Yeah, I'm just saying, back there where it was like the guys are the ones that everybody's like, oh, he's a great king. It's like, then there's Galadriel, and you're like, you know what I mean? Everyone's like, all hail the queen. So, she's the one and not her husband that is typically seen as being very, very powerful. And I'm just like, there had to be a reason other than the fact she was, born. Which is, the sense that you get if you don't know a lot of the lore is that, who is Galadriel? Why do we even want to revere her? And I don't know. I don't really have a problem with them kind of giving her a little more stuff, I guess. Kind of like what they did in Peter Jackson's series, because even in this, I don't know if it was the article or the YouTube, the YouTuber kept referring to Peter Jackson's series. Maybe one of the commenters did. They did a really good job about that. And I'm like, they still changed stuff, especially when it came to crap.
Well, they had number changes in The Hobbit, very definitely.
They had
there
some
were a lot of
problems
changes there,
with,
but
the fact that they're compressing the timeline, which obviously are compressing the timeline. So one of my problems is
Arwen.
that they're showing. No, I always have a problem with Arwen. No,
well, I know, but the person that was talking about it, they kept on like, oh well, Peter Jackson did really well with his Lord of the Rings movies. Okay, let's ignore the fact that there's The Hobbit and all that, but well, except for Richard, But anyway, but the thing that they mentioned was, oh well, they kept pretty true to the lore, and oh, this was really done well. He actually put Arwen in for a very, very important character in the lore,
yes.
in the movie. And it's like, she was supposed to have played an even bigger part. Apparently, she was supposed to have wound up going to Helm's Deep, and they cut that out because they felt it was too much of a change.
That was too much of a change.
So I'm just saying, giving Galadriel
the rest of the elves show up at Helm's Deep.
Yeah, I mean, giving Galadriel a little more oomph and letting her do a little bit of fighting is probably not the end of the world. Because at some point, I'm sure she did, and it, we may not have heard about it, but
Well,
but yeah, I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah, Galadriel does not have a large role in the Silmarillion.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing that's most notable, because somewhere in this article there's a link to a related article in which the showrunners discuss that they didn't actually get the rights to Silmarillion or Unfinished Tales, which I had speculated like way back when we were first talking about this. So literally all the story that they have access to is the same story that we have access to for the game that we're playing.
Oh, in the appendix then.
Yeah,
and of course the main text. So yeah,
so if they don't even have access to descriptions and lore and whatever in the Silmarillion, then it makes sense for them not to be using it. First of all,
yep.
Second of all, what I recall of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit books is he doesn't spend tons of time talking about like racial descriptions of every single people. So some diversity in the cast is expected. Because everybody wants to see diversity on TV now, because you can't just have a show full of white guys. You can't do it.
I think he does say that the native Gondorians do tend to be darker than the people in the more northerly areas, so, which is why in LOTRO you notice that there's quite a lot of diversity in Gondor.
Well, part of that is because they're related to like Dunlendings too.
Well, I would more likely maybe have some relationship to the ones to the south, and
or that.
Yeah.
But the biggest issue, which I really have to agree with them, is they show what's supposed to be a dwarf woman, A, easily identified as woman, and B, no beard. I'm sorry. Full stop. No.
Well, first off,
dwarves regardless of gender have beards. Period. End of discussion. I'm sorry.
Corey Olsen disagrees with you on that matter.
Really?
He talked about that at length in yesterday's, and he says that there is just too little information along on the matter in order to make that a definitive statement.
Because it's very clearly stated that dwarf women, are indistinguishable from males.
Well, it's not necessarily that they're indistinguishable, but I get you got to remember is that they're talking about how it could be interpreted as they are in that the ones who go out adventuring, because that could be one of the things is the dwarf women who go out adventuring maybe making themselves look like males intentionally or something like that. See?
Okay.
And one of the strongest things people remember.
Durin's beard?
Wait, where I think it's even worse. I think Pineleaf is alluding that there is a secret black market of fake dwarven beards for women.
Well, But
after the whole dower hand problem, I'm sure that they needed some fake beards to try to get in good graces again. Anyways.
Well, but of course,
Sorry,
there is the other possibility, and that is the fact is that Corey saw that is that even if it's clear to it in the adaptation, you think that is just like one of the most insignificant pieces on there, and there are much larger items that Peter Jackson, for example, diverged from the adaptation, and where they need to. His best favorite example of a place where you need to diverge from it, even though it might say it somewhere in the lore, is the size of the Stone of Erech, which is described in a much better detail than dwarven women with beards are, because that Stone of Erech is a lot smaller than it is in LOTRO, but because of the impression and aura that it feels, it has to be larger in game, otherwise you'll just walk by it and not notice it's there. So he thinks that there are times where deviating from the lore is probably going to be truer to the meta lore than sticking to the literal word to it.
I don't know. I'm just not necessarily optimistic about where the series is going.
Well, there's always that. I know that you didn't like the wheel. Well, actually, Calathathian. I don't know about you.
She had much bigger problems with it than I did. I mean, I wasn't super impressed with where it went, and I had some severe difficulties with the first episode.
Well,
which is all I've seen of it is the first episode.
Well, yeah,
but not as bad as she did. But we've temporarily lost her for the moment because her computer went weird.
Ah, okay. Anyway, that is.
I will, as a former bookseller, be philosophical about this and tell you the same thing that I did to other Tolkien fans who didn't like some of the changes Peter Jackson made, and there were a few things I had quibbles with. I don't hate the movies by any means, but there were things he changed that I wished he hadn't. I haven't read all of the Jordan novels, so I cannot commiserate with Calathathian, but it would even apply with that. It's not like they're going to hunt down every single copy of the book and burn it so you only have their version.
Yeah.
The books and the source materials are always there.
Well, and the other thing to keep in mind is it's an interpretation / adaptation, so obviously it's not going to be 100% completely true to the lore, because there's just some things that don't translate from print to screen. So it's just, are some changes really necessary?
Oh yes, that reminds me why one of the reasons why Corey Olsen feels so strongly about not having major beards on dwarf women, and that's because within the real world, females with beards are looked as more of a humor piece than as anything else, and he feels it's important for them to avoid having dwarves as
relief anyway.
In Jackson's movies, it looks like that they are not planning that for the Amazon series, and yeah, Jackson wanted them to be. And in fact, one of the funniest lines has to do with dwarven women with beards, and the reason why that joke rings so true is because of the whole thing about it being something with a humor piece. If you want serious female dwarves, having them with beards could detract from that.
Well, couldn't it possibly depend on the beard? I mean, if like they had ZZ Top beards, maybe that would be too common.
Well,
but
I mean, I just recently watched The Greatest Show, which is the P.T. Barnum story, and there was a bearded lady in that was completely taken seriously. I mean, it wasn't played for laughs, despite the fact that her whole character was supposed to be like the headliner for the freak show.
Yeah, which is rather strange, because usually that's what you usually associate with, or freak shows and the like.
Well, and that's how Barnum got his start.
Yeah.
But no, her character was not played for laughs. It was actually quite serious, and I was really actually impressed by how it was done. That's the kind of the image I had in my head for a dwarf lady. to be perfectly honest with you, because it was actually so well done. I'm like, hey, that's a female dwarf right there.
Interesting.
I was bored and it was on demand, so. And it's a musical and it has Hugh Jackman in it, so that's like sold.
I'm gonna guess that one of those things is even stronger draw than the other, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, so anyway, we'll have to see when we get more information on the matter. Right now, as you can see, that some people are taking exception to certain things. We'll have to see how good or bad it is when the time comes around. Any other comments before we move on? Then let's head into our weekend gaming. Is Kelpathian back yet?
Mm-mm.
All right, then we'll head on straight to Krister.
Oh no, I'm not prepared. Okay. Yeah, so this week we did our House of Rest. I'll just call it our tactical analysis phase, because what we're finding is in T2, it's a hard slog. There's some work to do, but we can do it consistently. And then in T3, everything that we plan, everything we've prepared for, completely falls apart, and we die over and over again. So we're still working on that. But as we go along, the T2s are actually, Pine Leaf, you mentioned the item level increase, and that's what we noticed, was we actually had some really nice equipment drop in the T2s. So we're thinking that people still, we're going to probably spend a little while equipping, re-equipping, and then we might just have what it takes to do the T3s. So we are getting excited about the raid coming out, because we're hoping that our kin will be back in some form with the numbers to actually do it. And it sounds pretty fun. And then my favorite thing about this last week has been, was actually last night playing ESO, and I equated it to Terry Edwin fleeing through a dark forest on a trail, and behind her there's this terrible noise and this approaching doom, and she keeps looking behind her, and she keeps making her horse go faster and faster. No matter how fast she goes, no matter how hard that horse works, the sounds are just getting closer and closer and closer. And so I wasn't even feeling competitive until Terry brought it up last night that I was closing in on her in champion points in ESO. So now I'm like, I wonder how fast I can start earning champion points now. So that was so funny last night. Terry just feels me closing in on her, this horrible, awful, big giant orc with his dumb sword.
So it's embarrassing.
It's not. It's just, if it's embarrassing in any level, Terry, it just reveals how much of a dork I am. Okay, so. But now I'm getting distracted because another game has come out, and I like the Total War series. Yeah, and so I liked Total War Warhammer 2, and I played that for quite a bit. And now number 3 has just come out. So I'm having a big debate this week about if I'm going to buy that one or not. And let's just face it, there's no debate. I just pretend like I'm debating, and I'm probably going to buy it here any second. I'll probably just buy it right now. So while I'm purchasing it, how was your week?
Well, Gware experienced the angle, as I mentioned before. I really love the region. If you guys have not been there at night, I really suggest you go. The sky is a shade of blue that is gorgeous, with the hills looking kind of rusty red, and then the stars. It's lovely. They've done beautiful work down there. I really enjoyed the storylines. We get I won't cover too much, but it's just it ties in the feel of the place with the things that are going on in the zones around it. And I thought they did a really good job of doing that. And by the way, the squirrel that you get after you're kindred and you can barter for it is adorable. Just thought I'd say that because, the squirrel pets are important for my hobbit. Also in LOTRO, Beldrick and Gwere have played through the Welkin Lofts to the point of a very interesting scene with Nashra. I know that some of my podcast members are still working through things, so I shan't spoil it, but it was very interesting. I am looking forward to that, and we also do need to go back and finish the stuff in Carbonic. Erebor housing. It's very green. It's very, very green. There is a nice quest, just like they had for Rohan, to kind of introduce you to the neighborhood. Which, if you're still leveling, hey, free XP, and you can just wander around someplace. It's very green. Very green. It's also dangerous. You can go in the kin house, and you're going in at like the higher level for the rest of the housing. There's like 2 different levels. But then when you go to it, you go upstairs more before you enter the gates. And then there are more stairs yet for the entryways. You go inside, there's the main floor, but then there's an upstairs, which is even higher yet. But you can go downstairs. And as you're walking along, I did not think about the fact that I should do the Moria thing and kind of like do the 45 degree and check to see. And I ended up diving even at the quote basement level, the lowest level. You're still above that other level, but I did manage to survive. So you can survive if you fall off the balcony on the lowest level of the kin house and end up swimming in coins. And I think it's hilarious. You have to swim for a while, but they do have stairs down into it because I think they planned that people are going to fall in and they're going to get stuck if we don't put them some stairs to get out of here. It was actually hilarious. I was laughing the whole time I was doing that, running around. But yeah, there's some interesting properties in there, and I'm pretty sure my kin just had the Street of Dreams tour on Landerval this past weekend, and we open up our houses and show people like how things are decorated, and not so much like a how-to, but just to get ideas and see how other people are doing things. And I'm pretty sure next year Erebor housing is probably going to feature on it, so I'm contemplating trying to scrape together enough to have a house in that. So that'll be kind of fun. In ESO, the Stamplar is close to finishing the questing achievements for Clockwork City. In other words, I have like 2 more Blackfeather Court dailies to do, and like maybe 3 more of the go to a delve and collect some items and go out on the landscape, collect some items. The orc there tells you to go talk to different people, yeah, so I'm almost done with that, except for the group trial thing, the group dungeon. That's kind of tough. I haven't even touched that or the deeds for it, but otherwise everything else will be done. So I'm kind of excited because that'll be the first DLC I probably will finish, even though I'm still working on Hrothgar with Luinori's Dragon Knight. And I found something new to do with one of my 3 Nightblades, so I would like to say thank you, Sans, for being a friend and biting my Dark Elf Nightblade so that she could be a vampire. Sans, what did you get up to this week besides biting my Darkblade Nightblade?
You're most welcome for that. And I'm glad you've been having fun with that. You led the dead on a merry chase with the rejects after a housing tour. And that was a lot of fun. Not quite finished with their Slayer deed, but we did kill a lot of the dead in the Lowlands, so that was pretty successful, I think.
There's always Agamar.
Yes.
And Harlake.
That is true. We've got more places to stop. But, that master of, what is it, Nanderlu?
Oh, gosh.
He's, never there when you need him, and then as soon as you've killed him, he's there, every 3 seconds you turn around and there he is again. So that was fun. And then I worked on leveling my minstrels, both on Landerfall and on Arkenstone. Though my minstrel on Arkenstone first had a very merry run through the Troll Shaws, unlocking all the stable masters, and was very confused when Pineleaf's dot was like stopped at the bridge for a very long time. Well, I guess it probably wasn't a very long time. But like I checked like 3 times and it was still there, and I was like, what is Pineleaf doing at the bridge? Like, we're unlocking stable masters. And finally went to go investigate because somebody said there's a stable at the bridge, and somebody said there was a stable at the bridge, and I checked like all the other bridges and there was no picture of a stable. So I went to that bridge, and sure enough, there was a stable, and it changed the map to the Lonelands. So that was fun. And I definitely war-steeded off a cliff in the Troll Shaws because, I mean, when you go to unlock stable masters in the Troll Shaws, and you are over level 100, maybe, over level 60, 70? I don't know. The only appropriate steed at that point is a light war steed. Because what else would you ride?
Heavy war steed.
But some of the foliage... Well, you can't trample anything, so you may as well go fast.
I don't want to hear that part.
Okay, I'm sorry. But war steeding seemed to be the thing to do. And the only problem was that some of the foliage was a little bit thick, and I couldn't quite see where I was going, so... that was fun. And in Final Fantasy XIV, my archer became a bard, which was also fun, but involved much death as I tried to figure out like what I actually had to kill and what I could run past and how far I had to run before they would drop aggro. So, still kind of getting my bearings there. How was your week, Terry?
Well, Terry and friends made it to the Stable Master in the Pit of Stonejaws. New zone, woo woo! Because it's the 3rd one in. This expansion's been out for how many months? And we're finally to the 3rd zone. We got distracted by like one side quest because I forgot to set my quest guide focus to the quest we were supposed to be following. So, but then we buckled down and focused just on joining the Legacy of the Dwarves. And we went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and now we're in the Stonejaws. And I'm sure after about 3 NPCs, they're going to send us back to Marigrind. I can just feel it in the pit of my stomach. But also, Terry finished the Joruka Allegiance to get the Spiffy Goat, and I discovered a motivation to go through the nonsense of picking up geodes so that I can get Sans the best pet ever.
A Mumak?
Not exactly. I saw somebody with it in whatever that hall is at
Verno's Hall?
Yeah, Verno's Hall. Thank you.
By the way, I'm back now.
I saw somebody with it in Verno's Hall, and I said, "Do you mean they finally let us have one of those?" And I looked, and sure enough, we can have one of those, and it's not bind to account on acquire. So I am hunting geodes like there is no tomorrow because I need 100 quartz so I can barter for this pet. And then I might need another 100 so I can barter for me. I'm just saying. And I cleaned up some of Terry's outstanding good and bad quest log yesterday and today. Doing some of the side quests that we kind of abandoned because we were like, okay, we need to really push through the main story. So I cleared a couple of bounties and I repaired some mirrors and played with some more mirrors, picking up geodes along the way because that's what you do. And yes, in ESO, I keep looking, and Krister keeps catching up to me in champion points. And I feel bad about it because I've been playing the game longer than everybody except for Pineleaf, and Krister's been playing the least amount of time, and I need to have him not catch up to me in champion points. It's just embarrassing.
I don't mean to embarrass you, Terry. I just am really enjoying the game.
Yeah, so I actually sent him a tell last night, and I said, you need to take an ESO break so that I can spend some time in LOTRO. And he sends me back a tell, and he goes, do you need me to tank something for you guys in LOTRO? I said, no, I need you to stop playing ESO because I have to go hunt these geodes. And I can't hunt geodes if I'm having to stay ahead of you in ESO. Because unfortunately, he can't give me any geodes that he's mined up. I mean, unless Krister wants to hunt down 100 quartzes to barter for this thing for sands. Yeah. So, but Terry finished out the Green Shade story and made it into Malabal's Horror. And I haven't hated the zone this much since Cold Harbor. I hate the zone.
Wait, Malabal's Horror or Green Shade?
Yes. No, Malabal's Horror. Green Shade was fine. I am like a third of the way through Malabal's Horror, and I hate it so much.
Well, what's the problem?
I just can't navigate through it because the map is very misleading about where the mountains are, and that there should be places to get up on there, like a pass, and there's no pass. So I have...
You shall not pass.
I have an alchemy survey for Malabal's Horror for some place on the map, which, as far as I can tell, I can't get to on the map. Because I've been at it from every single direction. I walked around the whole stinking mountain trying to find a way up there. There's not a way up there. I got eaten by slaughterfish twice.
Oh no.
I'm so done. But one of the endeavors for yesterday was scrying, which I ended up not doing because my scrying isn't high enough because I only had it unlocked on one character that I haven't been playing. So I finally went and unlocked it on Terry yesterday. So now Terry can scry for leads as they drop. So maybe I'll actually get some scrying done. It's a good way to make cash, actually. Yeah. The stuff you dig up, you can sell. But yeah, so Calabathian, how was your week?
Well, when my computer's not trying to blow up in my face, everything's fine. Sorry about that, y'all. I was right in the middle of trying to say something, and all of a sudden the sound went out and my screen flickered, and when it came back on, I could move stuff around, but it was like a different, like, you know, I have it like 19 by whatever, 17 or whatever it is, and it was like a completely different aspect ratio. Everything was huge, and I was like, I don't know what just happened, but I don't like it. Had to reboot, and it took forever. But my week in gaming. Really just LOTRO this week. And part of this is from before, because I really haven't been playing a whole lot for various reasons. There were two goats standing too close together in the pin there in Verno-whatever, in Gundabad. And it had the word goat and goat on it, but they were like squished together. And my brain thought the name was Goat-oat or Goat-tote. And then I started thinking about what a goat tote could be, and it amused me.
Totes my goat.
Totes my goat.
a carry-all for mounts. Yes.
Yeah, carry-all for mounts. It's a goat tote.
Yeah. There used to be a time when mounts were an item that you had in your inventory instead of skills. So back in those times, it would have been feasible for them if they had thought of carry-alls back in those time. I guess it's possible they could have.
That's horrifying.
That is horrifying.
Yes.
You really did need a goat tote.
I mean, I know the skill is an item before you use the skill, which is why I end up with an inventory full of stuff when I first make a character, because the character can't use the ride skill yet, so I can't use my mount skills. So I have a lot of horses that all of my characters get. It's a good chunk of bag space.
But I also discovered that, and it was on Cassowary, that a Vallard character looking to pick up and do past class quests in Angmar has no immunity to the statues and can't enter Karn Dune to finish them as a result. Because I was totally like, oh, hey, I have to go get this stuff, and it's in Uragarth. And I'm like, I'll just ride in through here. No, I won't.
Nope, I'm going to end up being a puddle on the ground.
Yep, I tried to ride through, and that statue went, and I said, and I died. Which kind of makes no sense to me on some level, because I was literally like over 130, and I'm like, at this point, I should be immune to these statues. These statues should be running in terror from me, but I digress. Cassowary's allies are now almost done, but for XP boosts, thanks to two things, one of them being Terry's reminder that there is a search function in my vault. Found his ally-related stuff. We didn't know where it had gone for a little while. We found it. I found it. And then the second thing being allegiance quests, and really actually the new rewards stuff, offering some tasty things like script, so I can buy things that I need. Also, Cass is now a lumberjack and he's okay. I might be playing with cosmetics.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I just need his hat. So when I log back in here in a minute, Terry sent me a hat to use, and I'm going to see if I can use the hat. An axe. An axe. I got the hat. Yeah, sorry, axe. Yes, and then it shall be complete. He will be lumbersexual. I think that's the term. Dress like a lumberjack, but
I'm pretty sure that is not pilotly friendly.
Yeah. I just thinking about that more and more just disturbs me to my very core.
It's apparently some kind of term for people who really like the look of a lumberjack, even though they're not really lumberjacks. They just. I'm like, okay.
It's okay.
So yeah, those are his. That's kind of how I've been and I really can't play ESO just yet. Because I totally lost my ESO Plus subscription, and now my bags are terrifying. But yeah.
Oh no.
So yeah. I'll get back on that. I don't know when. I don't know. So yeah. But everything is good now with LOTRO. That's my week. Pine Leaf, how about you?
Right, I'll begin with LOTRO, where one of my wardens headed into the angle to study some runes. And in ESO, I completed Cadwell's Silver.
Wow.
Congrats.
Whee! I mean, yeah, I
like
did
to do Cadwell's Silver, but like I said,
you gotta finish the first series of quests.
Yeah, I'm up to the point in that whole run where I think we have to make a very hard choice and then actually go defeat the person of interest. And I'm like, I don't think I'm high enough level for that by far. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
So I completed Cadwell's Silver. That means I guess now I have to head up to the northeast where I could start working on gold. And in tabletop games, I completed the Aeon's End Legacy of Gravehold campaign. So I spent a lot of time this week playing Aeon's End. And that's it for my week in gaming. In news beyond LOTRO, Dracula posted the Rings of Power trailer. And I think we've already discussed questions relating to the Rings of Power already. Does anyone else have anything to add relating to the trailer or?
Teaser.
Teaser, yes, teaser.
It's not a proper trailer.
Yeah, I guess I think they make a sharper distinction than they did when I was young because all right, so that's it from that. So they also have a couple of poems by Darren Loremaster, who has one called The Fall of Gandalf and You Cannot Pass.
Which is what I used to tell my kids who refused to do work in class until the very end of the semester.
Did you slam your staff down on the floor too?
I would have, but we couldn't bring them into the building. Like safety hazard rules, something. You might hit a child with it. I don't know.
Gambling was at the door and made you give it up?
Yeah, pretty much.
Our top supporter this month is LOTRObuild.com. LOTRObuild.com is a collection of full LOTRO databases that includes an items database, a relics database, and a titles database. You could also use it right from your Discord server with the LOTRObuild bot. We currently have 15 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious rate of players and help support LOTRO players, you can go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money will be able to use for podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. We do not have any emails this week, but if you like since when you can send it to podcast@LOTROplayers.com. You can also us at Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, LOTRO Players at LOTRO Players, Arendis at Arendis, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles, Senswinda at Senswinda, Terry Edwin at Terry Edwin, Guarendis at Guarendis, Calibathian at Calibathian, and Christopher is creeping up behind Terry to say boo.
That's not creepy at all, you creeper.
Well,
it'd be even creepier if I creeped up behind her and said, "Hi, would you like to have some buy some magazine subscriptions?"
Well,
it would also be extremely difficult because she's currently sitting on the couch and there's not much room on the couch.
Well, my problem is that when I hear the word creeper, the first image that comes into mind are these green things in Minecraft that explode.
I agree.
Same.
Yes.
You hear a hiss behind you, and you're doomed.
Yes. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We have LOTRO Players News, and we record DDO Players News when Drac is available. You can join us for our shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Punk Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.